There's the old process at the top, the new process at the bottom. I'm sure I don't need to explain the different steps, okay? I'm only going to point at this crown here, because we have a point after beta where any new service in the UK has to come to GDS to meet, for us to look at it and decide whether it meets a service standard, 26 points. Only when it meets that service standard does it get the crown put on it, okay? At which point it's live. We don't talk about policy and implementation or policy and then delivery. We don't think of them as two separate things. I think even thinking how you fix the gap is a category error. What we're doing here collectively with policy people in the room is digital service design. Okay? Example of changing the language. Here's how you do it if you're a leader in an organization. Okay? Get a room. Really important, actually. Get the right space for people to work in. Also, from our experience, really hard to do remotely. That's a bad thing to say, but it's really hard to do if people aren't in the same room. Get a small, talented, multidisciplinary team together. Even if it's a big change, even if the policy change is enormous, start small. Start diverse with the talents you have in the room. Yes, you need great designers, great developers, brilliant user researchers, product managers. You also need fantastic policy people in the room full-time to bring the policy in a legislative context. You need fantastic security people who can help the whole team understand how to make the service secure in the room. And most importantly of all, I'd say, you need people who operate services at the front line and who meet real users day in, day out and bring that reality into the team. Dave, Trish. The way you get that team to work is to start by making sure they understand policy, the intent behind a policy change. What's the principle? What's the point of the change we're trying to make here? Okay. Let me give you an example. This is carer's allowance. It's one of those 25 services we're transforming. Carer's allowance is a benefit that if you full-time care for someone else, you get paid £59 a week by the state. Okay? I'm not even going to begin to describe the pain you have to go through as a carer to get your £59 a week with the existing process. Okay? Other than to say there are 400 questions, potentially, you have to answer to get your £59 a week, which, by the way, saves the state how much in terms of caring for people? The brilliant thing about this team that's done this up in Preston is they went back to policy intent. And they said, well, the intent behind having a carer's allowance is actually to support carers. That's the purpose of the policy, not to treat them as near criminals and suspect them every step of the way. They've got policy people in the room with operational people, and they have stripped the vast majority of those questions away. Okay, they have co-designed with real users, and I have seen videos of user research with real carers in tears at the fact there's now a service that respects them as carers, that speaks a respectful language to them, as Jen mentioned earlier. Okay? If you start with policy intent, you'd be surprised how much of the detritus of accreted nonsense you can strip away.